We've been talking about tolerance. Anybody else want to say anything about what we've been talking about? Raise your hand if you have a question. What did you say? We've been talking about racism between black people and white people in historical times in America. Anything else? Nothing else. Okay. Those of you who have a green star on, please raise your hand. You have a green star on. Okay. I would like anyone who's on this side of the room who doesn't have a green star on to stand up. If you're not wearing a green star, just stand up and come over to this side.
No, only one.
Whoever doesn't have a green star. Okay, and if you have a green star on, I would like for you to stand up and come sit over here, where there are these streamers. Look at your shirt. Do you have a green star on?
Yes,
You have to move. You don't need to move. Stay there. Anybody else? Caleb, can you come and sit over here?
I don't want to.
Joel, you don't have a star.
Oh, I didn't.
If you have a green star on.
Oh,
And if you don't have a green star, find an empty space. Do you want to give someone else your star, Caleb? So you don't have to move. Do another one to just Ross. He's gonna sit. Okay? Alright, on the green star, people come over here. Everybody else, go find a different spot. Those in our class who have green stars today are very special. So since they have green stars, they get to sit at the desk that have a little bit of decorations on them. They get some candy, but they can't eat it right now. So if you have a green star, you get some candy. By the way, the Angry Birds candies do taste a bit weird. They taste like buttered popcorn.
I did. Ew.
And there are some other things that these people with green stars are going to have today. Don't say anything. You cannot open it right now. I need you to be listening. Now, some other things that the people with green stars are going to get are that they can line up first for golden time. And they could, at other times, maybe go to lunch first. Or go to recess first. The people with green stars are going to be able to enjoy these things. Now, since we've been talking about tolerance, what was the thing we learned about the very first week in our tolerance lesson? We told a story about an animal.
Oh.
And what was the animal we talked about, Anji?
It's like about this turtle, and it's like this raccoon came, and then he hid, and he didn't know what the animal it was. And the raccoon was a baby, so he thought it was a pea kind of thing. And so he shook it and tried to break it so hard, but it didn't break. And then the turtle got uncomfortable, and the raccoon kept on shaking it and throwing it to the trees and tried breaking it and see what's inside. And once the turtle got so fed up, he was gonna pull his head out and then bite the raccoon. So he did it, but he didn't do it. He poked his head up and then he stood still, and the raccoon also stood still. They both stared at each other and they did nothing.
Yeah, so they learned that actually they needed to tolerate each other. They couldn't really do anything about the situation, so they had to bear the situation even though it was a difficult one. Now in the second one, we talked about black and white, as Chen mentioned. We talked about some of the things that happened in the U.S. during the Civil Rights era. So what are some of the things we talked about there, Zoe?
Well, it's that and then something else that has to do with black and white.
Okay.
It's kind of like the people with the green stars are the whites, and the people without the stars are the blacks.
You're very perceptive. Okay, so we talked about discrimination. We talked about how some of the people who were different than others were treated differently in the Civil Rights era and before that in America, and how people weren't very tolerant of each other. And we talked about one of the 5 I wills, Stephen. Which one did we talk about last week? Do you remember? It has the word popular in it. Wait, see if I see some other hands. What do you think it is, Shashir? Not population. It was I will not something. Do you remember, Chan? Do you remember it? Brad, what do you think?
Not.
confused.
What is
Oh.
with what is, it was popular and then the other side of it. What do you think it is, Chen? What's popular and what's right? Is that what it is? I will not confuse what is popular with what is right. Okay, so this week we're going to be looking at another I will that's about I will accept my own unchangeables and the unchangeables of others. So to do that, we're going to be looking at this story by Dr. Seuss called The Sneetches, which I really love this story. I think it's a really good message. So some of you might already know this story. But before we do that, I want you to think as we read the story aloud today, what does the word discrimination mean? It's a very big word. So what do you think, after you read the story, what do you think discrimination means? And then also, what do you think tolerance means? So now I'm going to read the story. Okay, I think it's a really funny story, and there are some tricky words in here, so we will stop and talk about the tricky words when we get to them. Now, the star belly Sneetches had bellies with stars, just like some people in our class. The plain belly Sneetches had none upon theirs. Now, theirs is not a word that we use today. It just means theirs. It's just a fun way to say theirs, okay? Okay. Those stars weren't so big, they were really so small. You might think such a thing wouldn't matter at all. But because they had stars, all the star-belly Sneetches, would brag, we're the best kind of Sneetch on the beaches. With their snoots in the air, they would sniff and they'd snort. We'll have nothing to do with the plain belly sort. And whenever they met some, when they were out walking, they'd saunter straight past them without even talking. You go back, sorry. So I wanted to talk about the word snoots. So in this story, the snoots are their noses. So you can see these are their snoots in the air. It's just like, it's a symbol of someone being snobby. When we say they stick their nose in the air. They don't really do that, but in the story they do. And then also, saunter just means to walk slowly. Shasta and Candy, you can be quiet. To walk slowly. Okay. When the star-belly children went out to play, could a plain belly get in the game? Not at all. You could only play if your bellies had stars, and the plain-bellied children had none upon theirs. So even when it was time to play games, they couldn't play games.
Yeah, that's like me. No, those are you guys, and we are the people actually in the.
Who's talking? Thank you, Joel. When the star-belly Sneetches had frankfurter roasts, or picnics, or parties, or marshmallow toast, they never invited the plain-belly Sneetches. They left them out cold in the dark of the beaches, moving their candy in their hand. Thank you. They kept them away, never let them come near, and that's how they treated them year after year. So frankfurter, if you're not sure what that is, it's a hot dog. You know, we have hot dogs for lunch.
I don't like them.
It's a long word for hot dog. It's a German word. And then marshmallow. Raise your hand if you know what a marshmallow is. Everybody's clear on what a marshmallow is?
Yeah, that's kind of.
And usually it's white and squishy, and usually in America we put it on a stick.
This one's also. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and we roast it. I'm talking right now. We put it on a stick and we roast it in a fire.
There's also pink ones.
Okay, next one. Then one day, it seems, while the plain belly Sneetches were moping and doping alone on the beaches, just sitting there, wishing their bellies had stars, a stranger zipped up in the strangest of cars. And the word moping just means sitting around like a sad person, like, okay? My friends, he announced in a voice clear and keen, my name is Sylvester McConkey McBean, and I've heard of your troubles. I've heard you're unhappy, but I can fix that. I'm the fix-up chappie. Chappie just means like a guy.
I know, but
I've come here to help you. I have what you need, and my prices are low, and I work with great speed. And my work is 100% guaranteed.
Whoa!
So I promise that the quality of my work will be good, is what he's saying. Okay.
Next week.
Then quickly, Sylvester McConkey McBean put together a very peculiar machine. And he said, "You want stars like a Starbelly Sneetch? My friends, you can have them for $3 each." And peculiar just means a really funny machine.
Like
Very
robots.
silly machine he's got there. Next one. "Just pay me your money and hop right aboard." So they clambered inside, then the big machine roared. And it clonked, and it bonked, and it jerked, and it burped, and it hopped them about. But the thing really worked. When the plain belly Sneetches popped out, they had stars. They actually did. They had stars upon bars.
Yay!
Then they yelled at the ones who had stars at the start, "We're exactly like you! You can't tell us apart! We're all just the same now, you snooty old smarties! And now we can go to your Frankfurter parties." Do you think this is going to fix the problem? They all have stars now?
No.
Some people think no. "Good grief!" groaned the ones who had stars at the first. "We're still the best Sneetches, and they are the worst. But now, how in the world will we know," they all frowned, "if which kind is what, or the other way around?" See, they're looking with shock. And the stars were wondering what's going to happen. Then up came McBean with a very sly wink, and he said, "Things are not quite as bad as you think. So you don't know who's who. That is perfectly true. But come with me, friends. Do you know what I'll do? I'll make you, again, the best Sneetches on the beaches.
Whoa!
And all it will cost you is $10 eaches.
2 stars?
Put the prize up higher."
I don't.
If you have an idea what he's going to do,
Stars.
keep it to yourself.
I think I do. Those 13.
All right, he's got that machine out again, and they're starting to go in. Let's see what will happen on the other side.
No.
"Belly stars are no longer in style," said McBean. "What you need is a trip through my star-off machine. This wondrous contraption will take off your stars, so you won't look like Sneetches who have them on bars." And that handy machine, working very precisely, which means exactly, removed all the stars from their tummies quite nicely. See, now look, they've got no stars. So the others paid money to get stars, and these guys paid money to get them off. Then, with snoots in the air, they paraded about. They opened their beaks, then they let out a shout. "We know who is who, now there isn't a doubt. The best kind of Sneetches are Sneetches without." Then, of course, those with stars got frightfully mad. To be wearing a star now was frightfully bad. Then, of course, old Sylvester McConkey McBean invited them into his star-off machine. So now they just went in the machine to get stars, now they're going back to get them off. Then, of course, from then on, as you probably guessed, things really got into a horrible mess. Look at them, they're all lining up, all kinds of lines, in and out, in 2 different groups, making a big
And
mess.
see the money.
Lots of money. This guy is making a lot of money off of these people who don't want to be the same.
He's just like smiling, yes.
Yep. Okay, next one. All the rest of that day, on those wild, screaming beaches, the fix-it-up chappie kept fixing up Sneetches. Off again, on again, in again, out again. Through the machines they raced round and about again, changing their stars every minute or two. They kept paying money, they kept running through, until neither the plane nor the Starbellies knew whether this one was that one, or that one was this one, or which one was what one, or what one was who. So they got all mixed up. Then, when every last cent of their money was spent, the fix-it-up chappie packed up and he went. And he laughed as he drove in his car up the beach. They will never learn. Nope, you can't teach a Sneetch.
Hey, look at the money.
See, look at that. Look how much money he made.
Oh, man.
Yeah, exactly. He made a lot of money.
He said it